a will in this movie, and you know I've done action and I've done big crazy movies, there's a will to make the camera moves incredibly stately. And the camera is always moving, but it's incredibly classic about it and all. And Fisher was the master in the same way that Mario Bava was the master of style over budget. You know, this movie is around 50 million bucks, and I wanted it to look like 100 million. And Mario Bava is the guy that tells you, do the big gestures, and then you can go somewhere else. I introduced the house, and we measured my lens, we measured the model, and I said, you need to give me 10 more feet of sort of a camera obscura.
Everywhere.
To capture, yes, to capture the whole set. Because what good is a set if it doesn't fit on the fucking lens?
No, absolutely, yeah.
I'm not a guy.
Well, and particularly when Corman would work with Floyd Crosby and everything, they actually built the sets, you know, to the camera lens. I.e., well, what's the point of building it if it's not on? If it's not on camera.
But I feel that there are two things that I find obscene. I find obscene that if you. The rule for me on a movie, in every department, if you can do it physically, do it physically. Don't do it digital.
Well, you're talking,
I know.
You're preaching to a one-man choir here.
And the second rule is if you fucking build it, fucking film it. Because I came up and I would design a great special effect. I would bring it to the set, and it would be lit like shit. It would be shot like shit. And then it would be in the movie for 2 seconds. And I just think that when you are disciplined, I was disciplined by Dick Smith, when you are trained by a professional and he tells you, this is how you break down what you need, and this is how you maximize it, you carry it to production design, and do that. And they know if it's there, it's gonna be photographed.
Yeah, right. Well, now, but with that in mind, how does that work to you guys as far as like the set and the props and the decorations are concerned? Because this is going to be photographed to one degree or another. Maybe it's this brilliant background piece that you never noticed until you come up with an angle, and then there's that thing that was hiding in plain sight all along. Or now it's a close-up.
It's a very big question. The one thing I'm going to equate to that is the big challenge on this show, between a lot of discussions between Tom and Kate and Guillermo and I, was how do we make the costumes pop against what I do? As a set decorator, I never want to take away from the actors or take away from the costumes, because
Look at this leg is the size of an Ionic column. I could hold the temple of Ephesus.
But you know,
this stain is chicken from Ralph.
But you know, the thing is though, it's like each one of your movies is an invitation into your id. It's an invitation into your dreams and your passions. And you know, and frankly, you know, one of the things about you that I've always really cared about is you know, and this is something you share with one of our favorite directors, Mario Bava, is you're never more loving than to the more grotesque elements of it. There's such affection, like you're blowing those kisses, right? These grotesque moments, but they're always matched with the actual genuine beauty inside of them and that's surrounding them. However, having said all of that, and I'm not just saying it because I'm here now and we're talking about this movie, to me, when it comes to the Guillermo del Toro vision, to me, this is the most complete. I mean, I really feel that this entire movie came out of your head and you realized it.
Well, I love it that much.
Now, the thing is though, but with that, I remember like before I'd ever directed anything, I was invited to the Sundance Directors Workshop, and you meet different resource directors there, and one of the directors I met was Terry Gilliam. And so I'm talking to him, and yeah, and I'm asking him, yeah, exactly, and I'm asking him some like director questions that I didn't know at the time. And so I'm asking him, well, you have a vision, Mr. Gilliam, and your films have a look, and the costumes, and this, and the visuals. How do you do that? How do you capture that look? because I'd seen movies that I liked and I'd seen movies that looked like crap, and I didn't, and frankly, I didn't know the difference about how you do them. And he said to me, and this is going to go to a question to you guys, it's a big build up to it, he goes, well, you know, Quentin, you don't make the costumes, you don't build the sets, you don't sew the costumes, you don't take the light stands and move them to create these different images. You hire extremely talented people to do that. What you have to do is just articulate your vision to them, and then they do it. Now, I remember at the time, that was like gigantic revelation to me. I was like, oh, I can describe what I want, I know it. So, since my compliment about how realized it was as a vision, how did Guillermo go about describing it, and how did you get it, and what is the process for all three of you in that aspect?
Well,
Is that too big a question?
it's a pretty big question right there. I mean,
It's always a big one.
you know, Guillermo was on it from the very beginning, describing what he wanted. And then as we developed everything, Guillermo was around, and if we were in a pain in the ass, no, but you know, there was a lot of back and forth between all of us to make sure that everybody was on the right page every single time. As we're developing the house, we were building models, and we would change what we wanted before we even detailed it, and it was just an organic process where we were all completely taken away by Guillermo's vision.
How big was the models?
The house model was probably this big.
Enough that you could actually look, even with an iPhone, you could plan camera moves.
It was an amazing experience because as a costume designer you can tend to be, sorry, I'm a bit nervous, left a little bit till later to be brought into the process, but Guillermo and Callum brought me on, and I had the privilege of sitting in the workroom as they were building this model. So as the language was forming, I could develop at the same time the language of the costumes of them, and often we'd sneak bits of model making and into the corner.
Well, we were all in the same area together. So every day, if we were worried about color, we'd go grab costume. We were tweaking things. You know, Guillermo's very specific about
We had
color.
the palette.
Yeah.
We came up with a palette from the beginning. You know, it's that rare moment of total cohesion with a group of people under a director, which happens pretty rare in the industry by today's standards. Where, you know, okay, we are going to do a painting. Each frame's going to be a painting. Everything's going to be coded. So it's a tasty thing to work with. You know, it's a great thing to be able to do every day. It was.
And we did that with Dan too. You know, we did camera tests very early on in the process so we could play, because with Guillermo there's a definite red as opposed to the 98%
there's Guillermo red,
yeah.
Well, red is a monster.
Yeah. No, in your costumes, was there any consideration other than for expediency as far as like the fabrics used versus other types of fabrics used?
Absolutely, because it was about the quality of the film and certain filters and things that Dan and Guillermo were wanting to use, and how the characters either became part of the environment or stood out against it. You know, because we have the world of opposites all the time. I think always thought of this film as completely a world of opposites, the world of Buffalo, Allerdale, and then the crossover between the two, which is very operatic. And
But there's also the fact, I mean, I generate a 10-page biography per character, and I give it to them. I don't give it just to the actors, I give it to production design, wardrobe, cinematography, and we say, are we telling the story? And I think that, like, a lot of directors have their office in the production area. I have it on the art concept department, you know, and
That's clever.
and it's because there is a thing. I mean, we agree on a color palette, and it's a storytelling color palette. We say Buffalo, New York is gonna be gold, tobacco, sepia. It represents modernity, and then she's gonna be a drop of gold through the cyan and blue of Crimson Peak. And we know that we start and close with a white limbo with red. We know that we open with a black mother and we close with a black ghost. We know that their costumes, the wardrobe, the sets, that we built, everything is fucking built. everything is real. The ghosts are actors in makeup. The 3.5-story house is built to the last detail. I do paint checks in the morning, paint checks in the night. And the thing is, I think that you don't have to be a dictator. You have to be half a guy with a vision and half a fluffer. You have to
He actually
fluff.
did a lot of sleeve fluffing.
Yes. Like, but you need to make everybody feel aroused by the task you have. They all need to say, no, we have to do it. And you lead by being yourself. The guy that gets the fatter in the shoot is me. Because I don't get thinner by tension, I get fatter. But the beauty of this group is we agree on colors and we agree on shapes, and then we say Lucille is gonna be like a cocoon until she becomes a giant moth at the end. Her wings are gonna explode. And then I need to know how I'm gonna shoot it with the camera. And then the set needs to create wallpaper that has moths and butterflies, which is the theme of the movie, and hide them in the woodwork and create furniture that is 30% larger when she's weak, and props that are 30% larger.
Oh, so you guys played those games. You
Yeah,
did
we
that,
did
all that fun
We
stuff.
did all those games because I found out on Hellboy. On Hellboy, we did his gun was this big. Now, me holding it, it looks this big. Ron Perlman holding it, it looks normal. It looks normal. And I said, I've been playing with that on Pacific Rim and this and that. And I said, I want to do things that are invisible. The audience is not going to go, oh, it's not the finger on Dial M for murder. But I wanted to do it. So when she's weak, the bed clothing, the cup, the saucer is 30% larger. The furniture is larger. It's in shape of a butterfly. Blah blah blah. And we could. I did the commentary track today, and I said I could do 3. It's 2 hours of me talking. I could talk 6, but it's the team. I think you need to, and everybody in your team, everybody was taken by how passionate we all were.
Absolutely.
Can I just say that also goes down to everybody working with us and underneath us as the team.